Hello, welcome. I'm Brooke Pierce, and I'm very excited to be here. I'm a trustee for the St. Johnsbury Athenaeum, and with me is Bob Joly, who is the former executive director for the organization. And I'm really excited to be interviewing you today as a new trustee. I get to, ask you some questions and learn more about your role and what you did and what you're so proud of in that role. And as you know, I get to also interview Casey, so it's a great perspective for me to learn your view and learn more about her vision for the future as well.
So, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, you bet. So I've got some questions for you, and some of them are just I'm really excited to ask you, and so we're just going to jump right in and get started.
All right.
You were in the executive director position for 11 years.
Yes.
But with the Athenaeum for 21.
Yep, a long time.
Yeah, that is absolutely. How did you know it was time to retire?
After the COVID period, and I say that, I didn't personally get COVID. I just managed the institution for 3 years. It was very stressful. After that period, I never felt quite the get up and go as I had before.
Interesting. Yeah.
It was a lot of managing.
Yeah. It definitely changes everything. What about your plans for the future? I think we all want to know. You've been in this world for 21 years. What's the future look like for you?
I live in Barnet. I love living in the Northeast Kingdom. It's quiet. It doesn't change much here. I have a lot of friends here. I'm not leaving. I will work less. And I was a book conservator. I studied that at the University of Iowa, so I hope to go back into doing book conservation in my home in Barnet.
That sounds exciting. I like that.
Good.
Tell me about when you first came to the Athenaeum. What was your first impression?
When I studied library science at the University of Iowa, I was an object person. I like books. I like the paintings. I like the things as much as the information. And when I came to the Athenaeum, I said, this place has a lot of stuff. So I was super excited. But like most people there, I started part-time. I worked nights and Saturdays, and I had to wait my turn to move up.
I'm curious, how long did you do that for? Do you remember?
I part-time for at least a year. And fortunate for me, unfortunate for somebody else, is a staff member who was there got sick. And it turned out she could not return to her job. So I was given her position. I think that was 30 hours and eventually became 40. So I might have been there part-time for years if that hadn't happened.
Did you ever see yourself as a future executive director when you first started there?
I think when I had been there long enough and I was of a certain age, I was 57, I guess. So at some point I thought I could do this. This opening came up. And I thought, I know the building, I know the staff. I had worked with trustees, not as much as now, but I was familiar with a lot of aspects of the place, and I loved the history and the objects. So I felt I am a pretty knowledgeable person of this institution.
And you nailed it.
Yep.
I think you did well.
Yep.
What are some of the biggest changes you've seen in the Athenaeum from when you first started to when you passed the torch?
Everybody who has a phone in their pocket, and we all do, has a library. And the notion that the libraries have all of the things that none of us can afford, encyclopedias, things like that, that's not the case anymore. You can either get a subscription or so much is available online. The old-fashioned idea of the library as the place where you went to get the books that you couldn't own yourself has kind of ended. So they've had to evolve into places that are gathering places for people. We do a lot more programming than we used to do, and we do have specialized things for adults, downloadable content, that kind of thing. The one thing that hasn't changed is children's materials. They're still the same. There's nothing better than a big picture book, which it doesn't matter if it's on your phone. It's not the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's something special about having a child sit on your lap and look at a book
and
together.
The excitement of the kids learning the library. We just filled out some cards for some second and third graders at the St. J school. Their first cards. They were thrilled and their parents were thrilled.
Excellent. Very excellent. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective to think about. I recently toured some college campuses with my daughter, and going into the libraries and remembering what the vision of the college library was for me to what it is now. It's a lot like what you just described. It's a meeting place.
They've evolved a lot.
Yes. Yeah. So that's a great perspective. How about our town, our community? How has that changed since?
St. Johnsbury has its ups and downs. I think it's on a gigantic upswing. Younger people are moving here, people like you, people with children who are going to use the local schools, who appreciate the legacy institutions like the Athenaeum and the museum. And it seems like the people who are coming here, they're capitalized. If they open a business, it's going to stay open. They become involved in the town as select board members or whatever. So I think it's been a very positive change, particularly in the last, say, 10 years.
Yeah, I agree with you. How about your favorite memory of the Athenaeum?
There is this particular thing, Camp I Want to Have Fun, which was run by the Academy for the town of St. Johnsbury for many years. In 2014, 2015, I would run it as the little portion of the Athenaeum program of Camp I Want to Have Fun. So we would have students in the maybe 3rd, 4th grade come in. So we did that for a number of summers. During a period when the camp had ended, 3 girls were walking toward the entrance to the gallery. 2 of the girls walked right in, and the other girl stopped at the entrance like, you guys are doing something wrong. And I was in the gallery, they looked back at her, they realized she wasn't following them. They turned to her and said, no, it's okay, we know that guy. I had taught them in this camp, and they said to themselves, this is part of the library and we get to use this. That was a real thrill.
I love that.
These kids said, from then on, they would say, it's all part of art. We can have access to all of it.
Yeah.
And then the other little girl came in, and then she was brought into the fold. So that was really fun.
I'm going to think of that the next time I'm in the gallery.
It's a great thing.
I love that.
Yep.
That's a great memory. Thank you. I mean, in your career there, you've had a tremendous amount of accomplishments. Is there one particular one that stands out to you as something you're especially proud of or proud to be part of?
I guess I would say 2 things. Number one, the staff there is great. We like each other. We work well together. We have professional librarians. Not everybody is a professional librarian, but we've got a lot of people with master's degrees. And it's a challenge to build a team that is efficient and that likes each other. So I'm very proud of that. We have a fantastic team there. A lot of people have been there 10 years or more.
I was going to say longevity staff as well. Yeah.
And about the objects, getting the domes of the Yosemite, that's the proper title of the big painting, getting that thing conserved, when it first was apparent that something was wrong with it, I said, oh no, why me? Then it's like, you know what, it's you. So get with the program. We hired professionals to help advise us. And that's an iconic piece of art in the state of Vermont. And getting that thing fixed and it's good for the next 100 years, that was a big accomplishment.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And something that in the memory you just shared of folks coming into the gallery, it gives more opportunities for kids to come in and adults to celebrate and be able to share that. That's great. With your retirement, as you prepare to exit officially, what are you going to miss most about the Athenaeum and about your role? I want to. It's kind of a 2-part question.
Yeah, it's funny when you're the leader of something, you develop kind of leadership actions. And our new director, Casey Gwill, has been here for almost 3 months, and I have to dial back that. Like, nope, I don't make those decisions. So you get a little heady about your self-importance. I'm not a control freak or an overly self-involved person, but that changes. But what I'll really miss is the patrons who I have seen there for, in some case, 20 years. We just saw the obituary of somebody in the Caledonian of a person who I've known as long as I worked there.
Yeah.
And just seeing the day-to-day interactions where you can say to somebody, how's your spouse? Hey, you're back from Florida. Whatever you say to somebody, or just you're just happy to see people. That's that's been a very satisfying part of that job, because I do like the interpersonal part of being a librarian, seeing people,
Sure.
and even if you're not finding special things for them, you are having a meaningful conversation, as short as it is.
Absolutely.
So-
And I have to say, personally speaking, you've left an impact in the way that you build relationships with folks. And I don't know if you remember this, but when I came on as a board of trustee to the board, I said to you, we've met before. We served on jury duty together, and
Yes, yes.
it was years ago, but you
Yeah.
stuck out to me, and I remembered you.
Yep,
And that was actually the
that's right.
first time I had met you as on jury duty,
Yeah.
because you have a gift for building relationships with folks, and
Yep.
that has certainly shown through in your executive duties with our organization, and our community is grateful for
Yep,
your
I'm
contributions.
very proud of that.
Yeah.
And thanks for that, reminding me again of that meeting, because that was the only time in my life I've served on a jury.
Same.
And I was like, don't know what we're doing here, but let's try to make it work.
Yeah. But I, making the connection that then, your role as an executive director with the Athenaeum, and now talking about you exiting that role and your impact on our community, it sticks out to me because that's where I first met you, and I know very well that your impact and relationships that you've built with your staff, with the library patrons, and those that have come in contact with you, it's been an impact that builds longevity for our community. So
It's true, and I've received some cards from some people, and sometimes you don't understand the impact you're having just by being a decent human being and being concerned for people and being friendly and open and honest as much as you can. It does matter, and it's a public place, and if you're not actually good at that, you're going to fail in a fundamental way. So I was...
Excellent advice.
And it's something you learn, like, are you good at this or not? If you're a back office person, that's where you should be.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, that really concludes what I had for questions for you. But thank you for your service. Thank you for everything you've done for our community. And thank you for the last 3 months. I mean, you've really been institutional to the organization in helping this transition. So, and I'm sure we'll hear some of that from Casey as well.
Good. Thank you, Brooke.
Thanks. That concludes our interview with Bob, and I look forward to sharing my interview with Casey, our new executive director, and thank you so much.